Hi, nice to see you today, or I should say tonight. Tonight in this video I will show you how to take the best photo of the moon. To take a photo of the moon is easy, I would say, but there are some things you have to take in consideration. If you want to learn more, stay with me. Hi, I'm Mario Kilian and welcome back to another video. The first thing we always want to try is to shoot in automatic mode. But there is a problem in automatic mode. If you see the moon, of course it is at night, but you don't need a slow shutter speed. You don't need the lens wide open. That's because the moon is almost the light of the sun reflecting to us. So it is like a beam over in the sky. So if I just shoot the moon in automatic mode, the image will overexpose the moon because it wants to get the correct exposure of the whole image, and all the darkness behind the moon will just make the moon be overexposed. So in this case, I recommend to shoot in manual mode with a special setup. Generally, we should start with a main setup or a general setup. In this case, I will use the manual mode and try to get the sharpest out of my gear. That means that the aperture will be 8, 9 or 10. In this case, I will use the aperture f8. The shutter speed, I don't need a very slow shutter speed. I will use to start a shutter speed about 1/200, 1/160. And the ISO, I will start with the base ISO. So let's see, and let's take some example photos to see how the exposure will be. So I made my test shoot and I saw that the best is to increase a little bit the shutter speed. It is a very windy night and the tripod and the camera are shaking a little bit, so it could be that the image can get blurry and that the ISO of the lens could fight against this. So finally I will use a shutter speed of 1/400, aperture of f8 and an ISO of 200. Trying to get a really sharp photo of the moon is something very difficult. In first case, the moon is very far away. In second, the humidity, the clouds, the atmosphere, all this helps to get a soft image of the moon. So in this video, to try to get a sharp photo, we will take several shots, about 10 or 15 photos, and we will stack these photos, and I will show you how to stack these photos with a free software called RegiStax. Something important that I use is the 10 seconds timer. The 10 seconds timer gives the time so that the shaking of the camera stops after I press the shutter. Now I talk about 10 to 50 photos. Now it's time to go to the computer and work with RegiStax. It will be very easy. Let's go. And now that we're at home, the first thing you need to do is of course to download the RegiStax software. For this you can go to this webpage. And there the best is to download the newest or the latest version of RegiStax. You first have to install the oldest version and then the update link. Once you install the software in your computer, this is how it looks like. It's not the most friendly software, but it helps me a lot to improve the photos of the moon. Remember that this is an almost 15 years old software, so maybe it can work a little bit slow. But to do it in a simple way, for me it works perfect. So the first thing is that you need to select the photos you want to work. In this case, I will use only 10 photos. You can use 5, 20, 100, 500 photos. It all depends on how fast your computer are. Once the software has opened all your photos, the first thing is that we need to align these photos. In this case, the software will find the common points or the most important points in each of these photos so that it can, at next point, align the 10 photos in base of these common points. Now, with the limit function, the software will see and get the same position for each of these 10 photos. And now it's time to stack the 10 photos. Now RegiStax is developing only one photo from these 10 photos. This will take a time. It depends on how fast your computer is. Once the 100% is complete, that means that RegiStax have aligned and stacked all 10 photos. Here we can see the image. Now comes one of the most important things. In RegiStax you have the wavelet module. In there it is about 6 sharpening modules that works in different layers. You have to find out and set up every sharpened layers so that you get the best image. You can see a preview area if you choose this show processing area. In this square here you can see all the changes that will happen when you move all of these bars of the sharpened layers. In my case, I have found that the best is to use these values for each sharpening layer. Once you have found out the best that you like, you can do this sharpening for the whole image. As soon as the whole image is processed, you can save it as final moon, for example, so that you can later work it in Darktable to improve a little bit the colors. And so, things don't have to be complicated to be good. Once we have a final moon image, we just open it with Darktable. In Darktable, we will use just a few steps, a very fast steps to get the best out of the image. The first one is, of course, I crop the image so I can fit it better on the screen. Then correct, of course, a little bit the exposure, and in the correct menu, I use the haze removal, and in the tone menu, only the local contrast to improve a little bit the darks and whites of the moon. Then I use, in the correct module, of course, the contrast equalizer. This is one of my favorite modules in Darktable. The first step is to increase a little bit the contrast of the luminosity so that the brightness pops up, and of course the colors. And voila, only with these few steps we get an amazing image of our moon. And the best is we only work with JPEG images, we don't need a RAW image. RegiStax works only with JPEG, and we can of course work a JPEG image in Darktable. And so, as you can see, it is easy to take a good photo of the moon. But now is a part 2. Of course, you can use the moon as part of a composition of your photo. In the next video, I will show you how to take the best photo using the moon as a composition with other elements within the frame of your photo. Of course, remember that the setup that I told you, it's not a low. You can use, of course, the aperture priority to shoot the moon. You can use the manual autofocus to get the best focus of the moon. But that is the way I like to shoot the moon. If you like this video, maybe you consider to give it a like, and maybe you will subscribe to the channel, and so don't miss any other of my videos. And now, go out and take your best photo of the moon. I know you can. See you. Bye bye.